Confession of one secret. Number 1. I caught my teenage daughter performing fellatio on a cucumber while watching Prawn. For context, I'm 38, and her dad and my daughter just turned 18. She still lives at home with my wife, our 2 younger children, and myself. She just graduated this year. This afternoon, I went to my daughter's room. I knocked first. I heard, "Come in." She really must have said, "Don't come in," and my dumb ass didn't hear the "don't." So I opened the door to my firstborn daughter naked in front of her computer with this on it and sucking a cucumber. She screamed. I yelled, "Oh, shit!" and shut the door and went to my wife's in my room. My wife asked what happened, and I told her, "I'm really not sure." Then told her what I saw. My wife told me she'd have a talk with her and smooth things over. I don't understand why she didn't lock the door if she was going to be doing that. And I'm honestly kind of pissed she stole a cucumber for whatever she was going to do with it. Those are expensive now, but I'll let it go and just let my wife get me out of this one. Wouldn't be the first time she covered for me and probably won't be the last. I came during a massage yesterday and farted. I can never go back. I had never gotten a massage before, but over the holidays I received a gift card, so I figured I might as well use it. I booked an appointment, and when I arrived, I realized the massage therapist was an incredibly attractive and fit woman. I tried to relax and enjoy the experience, but the moment she started rubbing my thighs, I got aroused without even thinking about it. Then she moved to my lower back, and it felt amazing, making the situation even more awkward since I was doing everything I could to ignore it. Then, out of nowhere, the sensation became even more intense. My body tensed up, and before I could stop it, I lost control. And, in the middle of it, I accidentally let out a fart. It was, without a doubt, the most humiliating and awkward moment of my life, and I wanted to disappear on the spot. I mumbled an apology, barely holding back tears from sheer embarrassment. She stayed professional, just telling me it was okay and that I should clean up with the towel and grab another one. Then she said she'd be back in a few minutes. I did as she said, and when she returned, she finished the last 15 minutes of the massage. Neither of us spoke a single word the entire time. I am never getting a massage again. I got a paternity test on my son, behind my wife's back. 2 years ago, we had a baby boy, and from the moment he was born, I felt like something was off, and it was obvious. Our child didn't look like us. Now I get that children don't look like parents often, and you have to wait to see how they look. But this was different. My son was blonde, blue eyes, and with a very fair skin complexion. I am Mexican. My wife is Colombian. We both have a slightly darker skin tone. Think Selma Hayek's complexion. We both have dark brown eyes, black hair, and dark brown hair. Not only that, both of our parents have dark hair and brown eyes, with the exception of my mother who has a hazel eyes. All of our grandparents have dark hair, brown skin, and dark eyes. How was my child blonde, blue eyes, and fair? I had people tell me that the lots of babies are born with blue-gray eyes and darken up, and their skin and hair change vastly as well. So I waited it out and assumed the child was mine. But here we are after 2 years, and if anything, his eyes are more blue, more blonde, and even lighter skin. He does not look like us. I started getting comments on how he must be the mailman's son, or weird looks, or jokes. I was once questioned at a park if the child I was playing with was my son. My wife is always be asked if she is his nanny's, and it made me feel so angry. My wife never thought it was a big deal and would say people are just playing around. But I know some people think I am raising another man's child. It started to wear on me. I had no reason to think my wife cheated on me other than his looks. It was eating me inside, and I took my son to get a paternity test without telling my wife. Well, it turns out he is 100% mine. I was so relieved. I wanted to show this to anyone who made comments of joked about my son not being mine. That night, I casually asked my wife if she would have been mad if I got a paternity test when our son was born, and she reacted very offended that I would even consider that she cheated on me. She said, if would have affected our relationship negatively, knowing I couldn't trust her. I played it off that I was joking. But now because of the paternity test, she was correct, and I had no reason other than the way he looked. Now I have replaced the feeling of doubt of my child with guilt. Now I feel like an insecure asshole. I don't know if I should tell her or keep this locked away forever. My friend uses me for sexual content, and am secretly the customer that keeps paying her to do it. My M22 best friend, F22, is a girl who I'm insanely attracted to. She only sees me as a friend though, since she is a lesbian and would never be in a relationship with a man. She confided in me that she started making sexual content online for extra money. It's not that big, but enough to pay her rent each month on top of her normal job. She has a full-on secret Insta, Twitter, OnlyFans, etc. It came as a shock, and I asked her so many questions about it, and she briefly showed me her account while we talked about it. She then dropped the bombshell on me that she wanted me to help her with a video someone paid for. Apparently, they were tired of the solo content. I won't get into specifics because I'm not sure the rules here, but she wouldn't do full-on sex since she doesn't like guys. It was more of a fetish thing. She made it very clear she just needed a dick for the vid, and she trusted me, but she was doing it for the money. Not because she liked me and she'd give me some of the profit if I helped her. We did it, but I also memorized her username and waited a couple days and subscribed to her anonymously. Ever since then, I've been doing the same thing, paying her anonymously for videos that would include a guy just so that she keeps using me IRL. I feel bad deceiving her, especially since she's giving me back some of my own money. I found out my husband has been making life decisions based on his ex's suicide note. Background on my husband: 34 meters. He was a fat, lonely kid, often bullied, no friends. Then he met Maya, his first and only friend. Like my husband, Maya was also a misfit. Came from a dysfunctional family. They became best FS. When they were 15, Maya was gang-raped by her stepsister's boyfriend and classmates. She was badly injured, was in coma for 2 weeks. The ARPist says they were minor, weren't jailed. I believe they got out with minor punishments. This is the story I have heard from my husband and in-laws. Maya committed suicide right after she woke up and wrote only one letter of goodbye, which was addressed to my husband. I had never read this letter as I wanted to preserve his privacy, and it always felt too personal. On to my story. I have been noticing weird things about my husband for a while. We had our first baby when we were 27. I wanted to wait a little before our second, but my husband wanted one when he turned 30. He would mumble things like, "It has to be 30, it should be at 30. At 30, I had my second kid, a girl named her Maya. Now, I often find him hugging her and crying, asking an infant if he is doing a good job at being a father. We have to go on yearly vacations even when our kids were babies and we were busy. He forced us on a Vasey. Now that he is turning 35, he insists we buy a bigger house, again keeps mumbling, "The house is at 35. Well, I read the letter. It was laminated and filed. He keeps it in the safe along with other imp docs, such as house property. It was a very sweet letter. Basically thanked him for being there for her. And then she concluded it with wishing he lives this perfect life. Life where he graduates at 24, marries at 26, has babies at 27 and 30, moves to a big house. At 35 always goes on fancy Vasey end, with him being 90, reading stories to his grandkids. She also tells him to be a good father and husband. If he ever gets tired, she wants him to think for her suffering because of her family. Now that I have read everything and know that my husband has been planning his entire life based on that letter, it feels so weird. I had to tell someone. My friend's mom sent me lingerie pics in high school. When I was 17 in high school, my friend's mom sent me pictures of herself on their couch in black lingerie. I don't remember the exact words she used, but it was something like, "Hey baby, hope you are having a great day." I didn't respond, and instead blocked her without answering. I know there will be people on here like, "Bro, that's everyone's fantasy. Why didn't you go for it?" Well, there were 2 reasons. 1, she was my friend's mom, and I didn't want to make anything awkward between us. And 2, I didn't find her attractive. It's nothing to do with her age, as I'm very attracted to mature women, but she wasn't taking great care of herself, and I just didn't find her very attractive. I never told my friend about this, and after high school, we didn't remain in contact. I went over to his house after that happened, and it was a very awkward interaction between my mom and him. Edith. I see some have already said that she could have meant to send it to another person. That's is a likely possibility, and I hope that's what happened. I also removed the obese comment as it was honestly mean and not needed. I found my ex-girlfriend's suicide letter, so I'll cut to the chase. 2 years ago, my girlfriend, Kay, committed suicide. We were both 16 at the time. I'm now 18. The other day, I was going through my old emails that I never replied to. It took hours, but I finally made it down to around 2 years ago. The time of her suicide, I saw that a Google Doc was shared with me, titled I'm sorry, I didn't recognize the email, but I immediately recognized the profile picture as Kay. I immediately clicked on it and read her suicide note. It read, "Hi, OP. I hope you don't miss me too much. Haha. I remember the first day I met you, and you were immediately welcoming and kind to me. You always were by my side, even when I was hurt. You got me flowers for Valentine's Day and showed me what true love is. I'm sorry I couldn't deal with it anymore. I love you so much, and I'm sorry if I couldn't say it enough while I was alive. I love you, and I want you to keep on going. You're one of the smartest people I've ever met, and I know one day you will be successful. One day, when you get married, settle down, and maybe have kids, tell them about me. And one day, when you've made peace with this decision, I want you to go out and treat yourself to waffles. In memory of me, I love you, and I'm sorry." I guess I needed to get this off my chest. I haven't gotten any work done at all today, and I've just been crying in my room. I don't know how I missed this email, but I'm really upset that I did. She was such a sweet soul, and I still love her after all these years. I dumped my girlfriend after she brought up marriage. My father died when I was in high school and left a lot of money. Then my brother, my only sibling, died 6 years later from a ruptured aorta, which pretty much left everything between me and my mom. I had started dating this girl for a couple of years. We talked about our future together, and I started to become slightly bothered by her dream to be a SHM. I make good money and get money from a trust fund, but I'm not rich. My mom died 2 weeks after being diagnosed with cancer last year. It was surreal. I'm the only person left in my immediate family, and I'm only 36. I had moved out of state and have no interest in living in my childhood home. I put it up for sale and got $2 million in Los Angeles. All of a sudden, my girlfriend wanted to get married. It rubbed me the wrong way. It felt like she was trying to secure her future, whereas I'm mourning. She's talking about taking a luxurious vacation that I know she can't afford, but I can. Like I'm supposed to thank her for suggesting that I take her to Bali. I tested her and said that even if we get married, my family's money would stay with me. She got mad. She made all these plans of getting married, having kids, and being a housewife, whereas I just finance it. And if I died, then everything my parents worked for would go to her. I told her we needed to break up. She accused me of picking money over her, and I told her she cared more about my money than me. The truth is that if she had not tried to insert herself into my inheritance and let me mourn and supported me, then we'd still be together. Edit. I put myself in her shoes and said that would be a wonderful thing to stay home with your kids and not worry about money. I wished I had kids because that's what I would do now. Edit. Regarding my health, I'm okay. My dad did pass away from a heart attack at 46. He was an asshole who knew he was high risk but didn't eat healthy and wasn't physically active. Also, he ignored warning signs. My brother didn't die from a heart attack. He was born with a defect that required a stent and regular checkups. My brother didn't do that. Had he done that, then they would had saw that his stent was leaking. He didn't go to the doctor because he didn't want to be lectured on his weight. I get my regular physical, and everything is fine, but I could lose some weight. Aside from my sweet tooth, I'm healthy. I don't even drink coffee and work out 4 times a week. I lie to my girlfriend basically every day and have done for a while now. My boyfriend and I have been together for over a year now. I love him dearly. I have since the moment we started talking. He is the love of my life, and I can't wait to keep enjoying his presence for as long as I breathe. Now, where does the lie come in? Essentially, my boyfriend is currently in recovery from anorexia, and he has been doing brilliantly. I'm forever proud of him. However, he also has emetophobia, the fear of vomiting and being ill, so most days he gets in his own head about feeling unwell and convinces himself that if he eats, he'll be sick. So he defaults to going without. Around a year ago, on a particularly bad day when he had gone 2 or 3 days without eating a single thing, I was crying, trying to get him to eat. He said he couldn't because he was sure he'd be sick. In the moment, I randomly said, "Open your mouth and say, 'Ah!'" He asked, "Why?" And I told him, "You can physically tell if someone is going to be sick because the uvula raises completely to avoid getting any acid residue from the stomach. It's like a warning system for the body to anticipate throwing up." It worked. This lie I made up on the spot has worked wonders every day since then. I have no idea if what I said is even remotely true. After all, I made it up. But if it is, great. If not, it's still great. Because it helps. My boyfriend is now well into recovery and has been for a while. And I don't mean this in a way to take credit away from this amazing man whom I love so much, but I honestly don't know where he would be without this little white lie. It instantly calms him down and allows him to eat without worrying too much about being sick. He now eats 3 meals a day with me, and this small lie has played a big part in that. I've never told him, and I probably never will. I'm just glad it's had the intended effect. I met my soulmate while I was shopping for my wedding. So honestly, this happened over 4 years ago, but I've never told anyone till now. A few years ago, I was engaged to someone I thought I'd be spending the rest of my life with. Let's call him Marcus. We had been together for over a year, in a very serious relationship, and both of us knew we wanted to get married. It wasn't really a surprise when he popped the question, and of course I said yes. Thus began a long road of wedding planning, and I got to work right away. Immediately I went out, started buying flowers, decorations, picking a dress, all the typical things. I asked for Marcus to help plan or give his opinion, but he just kept insisting, "It's a woman's job to plan a wedding," so I did. The day comes that I finally decide to pick out what my fiancé and his groomsmen will be wearing, and I make the trip to our local men's warehouse to look at their selection of suits. When I get there, I'm greeted by one of the most handsome men I've ever seen. Well, not conventionally handsome. He was tall and so thin. It was shocking. In a striped suit with large glasses and a mustache that he had curled at the tips. It might seem shallow to mention his looks, but he literally was my type that people had teased me about my entire life. My family are all farmers and had always made fun of me for liking nerds. He quickly introduced himself as Sterling and asked if he could be of any assistance. So I told him all about my wedding, and he showed me what the store had to offer. He confidently told me that he'd helped with hundreds of weddings and fitted thousands of suits. And, true to his word, he helped me pick the perfect ensemble. We chatted a bit about what theme I wanted, colors, etc. Turns out, we both loved vintage style and had a lot of similar interests. I left the store that day, very pleased to have gotten the perfect suits ordered, and called my fiancé. To tell him the good news, fast forward a few months, and somewhere in the midst of all the planning, Marcus had been acting strange. He had been arguing with me non-stop over everything, getting upset when I wanted to spend time with my family, going through my phone when I slept, and on one occasion he even refused to give me my own car keys so that I could go home. It wasn't long before I found out that he was cheating on me with one of my friends. They had been texting back and forth for a few weeks and had met up already. I was utterly devastated, and thankfully had the mind to break things off. For good. Losing Marcus hurt, but being betrayed by my friend felt like a gut punch. A few more months went by. The loneliness and anger had definitely set in, and wanting someone to talk to, I decided, what the heck? And downloaded Tinder on a whim, I had literally only been using the app for about an hour when a familiar face popped up. Yep, Sterling. I will literally never forget reading Oxford Dictionary in the streets, Urban Dictionary in the sheets on his profile. Corny? Yes. Did I laugh though? Also, yes, I swiped right, and to my surprise, he had done the same. From there, we exchanged numbers, spent nearly 6 hours talking on the phone that night, and met up just a few short days later. Sterling was definitely surprised when I told him about what happened with Marcus, but he was incredibly sympathetic and respectful. We hit it off right away, and when I was ready, we started dating. We've been inseparable ever since, and are now married with our 3-month-old baby girl laying next to me as I type this. I'm happier than I ever imagined possible. And although our story is a little different, believe I've truly found my soulmate. Edit. For those who had shown interest, Sterling gave permission to drop a little face reveal. Unfortunately, I have no photos of the legendary mustache he used to have. Please help me convince him to grow it back. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Share your opinion in the comments about these stories. Which one touched you the most? Don't forget to like the video, please.